Hello, my lovely audience. So, I am sorry for not, being able to do a video sooner because a lot of stuff has happened this week. And, well, it's just been crazy, really, for me. So, yeah, I'm sorry that it took forever, but, here we are with the video, so that's good. Also, seeing how Red Tornado didn't do so well, I am going to, cancel that one. I like cancellations this time around, and I'm not happy about that, but hey, whatever. We got one that's coming out here, and this is awesome. So, this is What If Deku Was a Hunter. And if you don't know what I'm going off of, it is Supernatural. So, yeah, I'm going to say this, because this makes sense a little bit. Everyone in the My Hero Academia world has mixed DNA with either monsters or psychics or whatnot, really. And all of them have the exact same weaknesses of those, monsters and all that. So, yeah. Now, let's see here. So, Deku's mom would be considered a psychic and kind of like a half-psychic almost. And I'm going to say that there are people out there that are pureblood, monsters and all that. And I'm going to say that there are full-on monsters out there, like, pureblood, really, so, there's purebloods, and there's also full-on monsters and all that have been alive for a long time. Now, I'm going to say that the quirkless are also, some of them are hunters, some of them are menoleters, some of them are just regular people. And I'm going to say that Deku encounters a monster. And what happens is this. I'm going to say that Deku encounters a demon, because why the fuck not? And this demon, I'm going to say, made a deal with Inko. Well, I would say Deku's dad. And comes to collect on, instead of, his dad, collects on his family. And takes away the person he loves the most. And that is Inko. And Deku gets to witness this whole thing as a kid, and that traumatizes him. But seeing how he wants to be a hero, but he notices that being a hero can't solve this problem. So he wants to become something more. And that is, he's going to try and figure out what this is. So I'm going to say that he does a bunch of research and runs away from home, does all these researching, and then finds hunters. And he finds out about them. Because I would say that hunters are kind of clumsy these days. And I'm going to say that Deku starts believing it. He meets some of them, and he immediately becomes a hunter. He goes on a few hunts, kills a couple ghosts, and he also kills a lot of things. So much so that his whole revenge plan is basically this. He has already killed the demon, and also many more. In fact, his name is so widely spread around the underworld that it is actually a fear name. They call him, I would say the Green Hunter. I don't know. You come up with a good name for that they would be afraid of? But we'll go with that for now. So I'm going to say that people are really afraid of him because even the most skilled fighters of demons and werewolves, vampires, and even wendigos can't face him. And I'm going to say that it's pretty bad. Like, really bad. Like, most people with quirks that are, like, emitter types or whatever, like Bakugo, are psychics. And those are kind of like a friendly thing for him. So I'm going to say that Deku, he's not wanted at all, really, because he covers his tracks very well. And I'm going to say that he only gets caught once, and that was by a couple of deputy cops that just got, in the force, and immediately they get taken down by Deku. They put him in cuffs, but that didn't help at all, and he took their asses out pretty quickly. And he basically just beat them down while he was cuffed. And I'm going to also say that people that are quirkless have a unique trait, because they would also have to adapt to, all the monsters coming into the world and all that. And that is by doing this. They have enhanced their bodies with a type of genetic trait that allows them, when they work out and actually do a certain set of training, they will grow faster and be much taller than what they actually should be. Like, they're going to be as tall as, like, let's say Deku would be, I'd say he'd be 10, and he would actually have the height of a 20-year-old. And yeah, basically it basically just makes it that their like puberty ends faster and they're much taller by then. So yeah, Deku had to hit puberty way early, and yeah, he went through a kind of a Captain America kind of transformation. So yeah, Deku basically is badass.
Dude, you still got a bunch of pasta out there.
I can't eat it, man. I don't know what's going on.
You can't eat it.
I just can't eat it. I'm also in the middle of a video.
You should put a thing on the door that says recording.
I know, right? Well, anyways, ignore that. Anyways, let's get to it. So, let's see here. So, where was I? Well, yeah, Deku would be... Yeah, he'd basically go through a Captain America transformation and be pretty jacked. I would say that most quirkless people are like this. Metalighters are basically just wizards at this point, and hunters are just basically badass Captain Americas walking around. So yeah, because there's only one other quirkless person, that was the guy who had electrical... You remember the Vigilante series? Basically, he's a hunter. I'm going to consider that being a hunter because, like a hunter of sorts, you know what I mean? Part-time hunter. So yeah, I'm going to say that Deku's kind of close to that body style, just a lot more medium weight. Well, close to lightweight, so he's a lot faster and shit. I'm going to say that Deku... I'm going to say that Deku... I'd say he has a couple aliases, so that way he can get all over the world. Like, he's traveled, like literally all over the world. He's a skilled hacker, and also, he's picked up a lot of traits because he's a solo hunter. And I'm going to say that his arsenal is kind of what you see here, just minus the baseball bat, and kind of get some brass knuckles in there. So yeah, he's got a form of military-style fighting, and, well, actually it's beyond that too, because cops and even some military personnel that he's fought can't keep up with him. So yeah, he's a pro fighter in the end. He can take anyone out if he got into a fight with them. Yeah, mostly anyone. Except I would say top heroes, so there's that. Alright, so next I would say that Deku, when he hits 15, he still wants to become a hero, and he kind of wants to retire from hunting. So after killing all those, all those monsters and all that, he wants to become a hero. So at 14, he would start doing that, and when he hits 15, he's already got like the academic record and everything, and he's caught up with everything. He's going by Izuku Midoriya now, and people don't really get suspicious because he has this whole entire alibi worked out, and it's all been made up, really. He goes home, takes a bunch of shortcuts and makes sure no one follows him. No monster or anything like that in the criminal underworld know what he looks like exactly. They just know the name and the fear. They can feel the presence of that person when they're near. So I'm going to say that on his last job, heroes start to hear about it. And the way they hear about it is, I'm going to say that one of Overhaul's gangs, like one of his, some of his underlings got attacked. And immediately they start running away, and they're screaming, "He's here, he's here!" And they're shooting off all their quirks, their emitter-based quirks, and I would say that they're like, I don't know, like, it's basically they're monsters either way, so, well, half monsters, but yeah. So, yeah, they're running in fear, and that's when I would say all the heroes come in, and they stop the heroes, villains, but they hear about Deku and the fear that is put inside. And I'm going to say that That's when heroes start wondering, who is this person? Because then they start doing some digging in the criminal underworld, and they find out that there's a big bad that hunts down the villains and kills them and butchers them, apparently. When I mean butcher, I mean like there are some people who have lost arms, limbs, and stuff like that. Well, monsters, half monsters too. And yeah. So yeah, let's go back to where Izuku is, and I'm going to say that he's going to try and do the UA exam. Now, seeing how Bakugo wouldn't be in his life anymore, he would pretty much forget about him. They don't really cross paths. I'm going to say that this is a school for, most of them are people who want to live an ordinary life after trauma and stuff, so there'd definitely be a special school for them this time. So, yeah, because it's like 2,100 something? 48? I don't know. I looked it up, so I might be wrong. But yeah, so there would be people who have like a school set for people with trauma and shit. So that's where Deku would go, and he'd be pretty stone cold with this personality, but he'd still use his analytical skills and still copy down like heroes' quirks and stuff like that, and then label them as what type of monster they would probably have the powers of. Although All Might he can never figure out because he thinks All Might that's just his physical strength. He was a hunter, he thinks, but he doesn't know. So, I'm going to say that Deku would then... I'm going to say that Deku pretty much... Let's see. I would say that Deku... This is hard because I'm coming up with it on the spot, but still, I love doing this. For you guys, at least. So let's see here. So Deku he would get done with school pretty much, and then he'd go to the UA exam. So yeah, and plus I think people would find it a little weird that someone of that height is actually that age, and it wouldn't be that bad. I think they would think it's a quirk, but at the same time they wouldn't know. So it's like, okay, I guess it's your quirk. So yeah, when he gets to UA, I would say that he a lot of people are surprised because of his height and strength and his body mass. So people would be like, are you sure you're this age? They do background checks as soon as he comes in, and they'd be like, all right, it's cool. At least we got this right. Have fun. And on the written exam, I'd say that Deku gets first place and above. Like, the first person to answer all the questions, then correct questions, and beat it, like, on a level that Nezu finds impressive. So either way, he would get in because of his intelligence and just how far advanced he is. And I'm going to say that Deku, when it's a practical exam, Ida would definitely... I would say Izuku wouldn't trip either, so there's that. I would say that when Deku gets in to the practical exam, Ida is looking at him kind of shocked. Like, he thinks that is not a kid. Thinks that he's a teacher, and he's wondering why he's participating, and thinks it's just standard protocol. So he goes up to him and says, are you a teacher, etc., and then Deku explains that this is just how he is. And he says that that's his quirk, because he kind of wants to go along with the act that it's a quirk, and just try not raise suspicion. And he'd be like, alright, cool, that's actually a really interesting quirk, I wonder how it works. And he just explained that it basically made him go through puberty early. And I think Ida would be kind of going like, oh shit, never mind. So yeah. And I'm going to say that Deku, once it starts, Deku immediately starts taking down robots in a insane fashion. Like, he beats them down to, like, nothing. And, how do I put it? Like, rips their heads off, uses shrapnel to cut their limbs off. And people are just horrified that someone can do this. And I would say one of the participants are passing by and say, Jesus, what's up with you? And he says, I've seen it in movies. And that's what he would basically say to get away with it. And yeah, he would rip through them and just tear through a bunch of robots. Like, before anyone has touched some of them, he's already ripped through 25 within 2 minutes. 30 seconds, I would say. That'd be better. And then I would say when Araka is in trouble, he quickly saves her with his, body and speed. He would be able to get there a lot quicker and be able to get her out even faster. And I would say that Deku, once he saves her, he also throws her out of the way and then takes out another robot, where she was, basically. Kind of like kneeing it in the face. And yeah, I think that's when the test would resolve, and Deku, people are like, Nezu would be looking at the score and be like, he doesn't really have any abilities, really. Like, he doesn't really have any, like, flashy quirks, but yet he was able to rack up the most points that we've seen in a long time. And also save someone and has the true heart of a hero. But at the same time, he's doing something that's just insane. So I would say that's where Nezu would be kind of like, holy shit, this might be the coolest thing I've seen in a while. Most interesting thing, really. And Deku's accepted into UA. And I'm going to say that I'm going to leave it off at the heroes versus villains, but no, I'm going to continue there. So I'm going to say that Deku, I'm going to stop at the USJ because reasons. When he gets into Class 1A, he immediately unloads, and people are just wondering what his quirk is, because he got first in the whole thing. So he would explain what his quirk is, and people would be kind of shocked. They'd be kind of like, holy shit, that's badass. It's badass, and at the same time, it's amazing you utilize it in such a way. And I would say the guy with the tail, because he does martial arts, he would actually ask, what martial arts do you use? And he would say that he kind of came up with it on his way of when he was getting bullied a lot by some really bad people. And he's kind of come up with this whole lie to make up for his origin story or whatever in his past. Basically, he was bullied a lot because of his quirk. That's what he would say. And I'm going to say that, like, Bakugo wouldn't have known what happened to Izuku, but he would get, like, the kind of feeling of, like, deja vu, that he's seen him before. And people would be kind of, like, amazed by how his quirk actually works. Because Deku here can lift up to about, I would say, 800 pounds. And that's max. So he could bench 800 pounds. So that's fun. And that's if he's got adrenaline going. Regularly, just 400. And that's for a short amount of time. So yeah. I'm going to say that Deku, he's pretty jacked. He's pretty damn jacked. He's like Batman jacked. So yeah. Now when Deku gets into, since for saying that it's the physical exam? Yeah, if that is that what came up with? I think Deku would already know of his presence, so when he got up and showed the class, like, everybody quiet down, Deku wasn't surprised. Like, he was the only one that wasn't surprised. And I think that Aizawa would notice that and be like, that's kind of weird. But also, Deku would have heard of Aizawa because I would say that hunters would have kept a record of Aizawa and find it very strange because he's a kind of like a new breed of a monster or psychic. They don't know what he is because he's able to disable the genetic traits of the monsters and all that. And of the quirks, really, quote unquote. And it can't really work on the hunter's genetic mutation thing because it's hunters and they've worded it up a ton, so there's that. Fun. And yeah, I would say that Deku has a lot of tats on his like body, on his back, on his chest, that are like wards to ward off certain things, like demon possession and also angel possession, all kinds of possession, like ghost possession as well, and keep him off the radar for any kind of supernatural being, so no one can detect him or anything like that. So he's got a lot of wards. I would say that it covers up to like the short sleeves, shoulders, everything. And yeah, people would be kind of surprised once they see him take off his shirt and just see the scars and damage done to his body over the time. And people would be like, well, he said he was bullied, but I didn't expect it to be that bad. And people see tattoos, so they think it's gang related. And they think, oh, well, maybe it's, maybe he was in a few gangs. Or they're just like symbolic in some way. Because he seems like a really chill dude, so who knows? And people are just kind of afraid of him now because they see all the tats and they're just like, who is he really? Like, this kind of seems a little fishy now. But Deku would immediately explain that the tats were kind of just from kind of going place to place, and they kind of just were, try and remember those places. And that doesn't really add up because the tats don't look like that shit. And he explains that they all have certain meanings in their own way. So yeah, he covers it up with that crappy lie. And they kind of believe it, but they kind of don't. So yeah, but they see the scars and they're like, oh wow, that's just a lot. There's even a few, I would say, looks like bullet holes, really, on his back. So yeah, and well, on his legs, really. And a few knife wounds, really, too. So it looks bad. Like, really bad. So yeah. So people are afraid of him now. That's the fun part. And I'm gonna say that Deku immediately would do the exam and would get pretty much an average score. Well, average as in being like second place and third place. And being able to move very quickly and agilely and be able to move with his environment. So, long jump, I would say that he gets the second farthest. And with the ball throw, he throws he throws it very far. I'd say that he'd throw it farther than Bakugo, who'd be pissed. And, yeah. Oh, whoops. So, yeah. Now let's see here. I'm going to say that after the exam, Mignetta would get booted, and Taekwondo girl, the redhead from class, I can't remember the class, but yeah, basically the Taekwondo girl that would have been in Izuku's place on the anime and all that. You know what I mean. Kato, I can't remember the name. Was something with a K, I think. Yeah, she comes in and takes place in Mignetta. And I'm going to say that Deku, I'm going to say for the hero, also, Aizawa would be pretty impressed that his quote-unquote quirk is, like, working like this. Like, he's able to move so well. Almost like he's had training or military-style training or something, because he's just moving around so agilely. Like, he's done so many times. And his strength is insane. Like, really insane. So it's really surprising to see his strength in one arm. And I'm going to say for the Heroes versus Villains exam, Deku is going to be paired up with, I wouldn't say Araka, but I would say the guy with the tail. I can't remember his name, because I don't think anyone remembers that dude's name. Unless he's your, like, favorite character, but he's not mine. I just find it really veiny and weird, that tail, so I'm like, ugh, nasty. But yeah, basically he's paired up with the guy with the tail, and he's going against Ida and Bakugo. Because they kind of want to see what Izuku is capable of. And when they call up Deku, I know I'm going between names, but come on, bear with me. When they pair him up with the tail guy and everything, I would say that Deku immediately, walks in with the tail guy, and the guy with the tail is kind of just, like, amazed by his fighting, by his, like, body shape, and kind of wants to see how he fights a bit more, because he's only heard about how he fought from, like, other students when they were doing the exam to get in. And yeah, people are just really wondering what he would look like. And his hero suit's going to basically be a simple mask that doesn't really cover his field of view, and kind of like, well, I would say it's going to be a hoodie and some and yeah, just like kind of like a mask that just doesn't really cover up his field of view, and also brass knuckles. And also, I would say it also has a knife on his backside waist, on the backside of his waist, and that's kind of like a bayonet that he has on the backside. And yeah, like, people were kind of like skeptical of why would he need a knife, but they kind of thought it was alright because it was a pretty dull, well, it was like he said it was only going to be used in case he's ever tripped up by wiring or something like that. It's always good to have. Yeah, he's trying to stay prepared, but it's a silver knife, so that's weird. So yeah, and I'm gonna say that his knuckles are made of iron and also silver. Like one's made of iron and one's made of silver. So yeah, people are kind of finding it weird, but at the same time are all right with it. All right. And I would say that he'd be bringing along a book with him in his in a backpack that he has, along with medical supplies, for stitching up a wound for like field first aid and all that. And yeah, so yeah, he would have that, and I'm gonna say that also along with the backpack, he's got rope, because where can you go wrong with rope? And I would say they bring along salt. He would say that it's in case, because he always wants to stay prepared in case of anything, really. And, yeah, he's going to use stuff like that against people. Also, he brought a lighter, so there's that. People are just finding his entire, options for his suit weird. Really weird. So, yeah. And, yeah. I'm going to say... Nah, I think that's fine. But yeah, so Deku, once he goes in, he's going to fight Bakugo first. And how this goes along is beautifully. Because I'm going to say that he has guards on his wrists and arms, on his forearms. So that way it can protect against, blades, blunt force, anything. And I'm going to say that he's wearing, a flat jacket, like a bulletproof vest or whatever. Because he also says, hero, you should protect yourself from anything that's, deadly. Yeah, I'm going to say instead of, a simple mask, it would be, a ballistic mask. You ever seen, you ever played Rainbow Six Siege? If so, look at Vigil. That's a ballistic mask. So, yeah, he'd have that on his face. And people are just going to get this, terrifying vibe from him with the bulletproof vest / flat jacket on, I guess. Yeah, I'd say they would have just a bulletproof vest. No, flat jacket. Prevent shrapnel from getting in. So there's that. So yeah. I'm gonna say that Deku, once he gets in, they're walking down the hall, and immediately the guy with the tail gets taken out by Bakugo. Surprises him and takes him out quick. And that's kind of when Deku takes down Bakugo as well. Kind of pulls his leg from under him and dislocates it. And then knees him in the face, knocking him out. He checks the pulse of the guy with the tail, and immediately, he also checks the pulse of Bakugo. They're both alive, just unconscious. And, one's more unconscious than the other one, and that is Bakugo. So what Deku does is he carries him out to where they started, and sets him and props him down. And I would say that All Might would be very intrigued by this, because normally they would leave their teammate behind so they could push the villains, but he's looking out for his teammate, which they found a little insane and also very smart. Because when you're knocked out, you're basically going to be considered a civilian, like a casualty or just, a really, a variable. And it's going to be hard for you to even continue onwards if someone were to take you away. So he props him down somewhere safe and out of sight. Outside, really. And he goes back in, finds Bakugo that's missing, and, finds a trail of blood from when he kneed him in the face, and follows the trail back to where the bomb is. And that's when Bakugo kind of slouches down near the bomb and just trying to, catch his breath. He's been limping because his legs was dislocated. And I would say Ida would pop it back in, and kind of figures that whoever did this, either it's Deku or the guy with the tail, was very skilled at it. That's when Deku kind of comes in. And immediately, Ida would get a terrifying vibe because he would see that there's, that Deku kind of seems a little roughed up a bit. And he would think that he was the one that took out Bakugo because, the guy with the tail's not there. So, yeah. And I'm going to say that he's kind of afraid because at the same time, he did that to him within a second. So he's wondering what he can do to try and take down Deku. And immediately, Deku kind of charges in and bashes in Ida's kneecap. Completely breaking it. And, I would say fracturing it? Yeah. No, I would say he would go for the calf. No, because that would be where the jets are, well, engines are. So I'm going to say he goes for the stomach and then body slams him. And that completely just cripples Ida. Bakugo would then try to retaliate with an explosion, and Deku would just dodge away from it and uppercut him in the face, and instantly KOing him and dislocating his jaw. Now, what would happen with Ida, because he would definitely try to come in with an attack, he would try and kick him in the face. Although Deku would grab his leg and dislocate that one. And then Ida would try and grab him by the pant leg. He would just take Ida's arm and dislocate that one as well. And everyone that is watching this is just horrified that the fact that he's able to do something like this and do it so coldly. I would say that All Might and the teachers that are watching are kind of just like, what the fuck is this? What is up with this monster? He's just a monster at this point. Almost like a Terminator. And immediately touches the bomb, and that's when he wins. So yeah, Deku just kicked ass and got away with it. So yeah, I believe next is the USJ. So yeah, I'm going to end it off here. Have a good day and a good night. Peace out.